Welcome to Zoe Stories. One spell changed me forever. My name's Ethan, and until that night, I believed in logic, not magic. I was a software engineer, the kind who lived by deadlines and caffeine, not by fairy tales or superstitions. But sometimes life doesn't care what you believe. It changes you anyway. I lived with my girlfriend, Mia, in a modest apartment just outside the city. She was the kind of woman who filled silence with energy, vibrant, unpredictable, a storm that somehow made my quiet world come alive. We'd been together for almost 2 years, and though we loved each other deeply, there was always one unspoken thing between us. I wasn't entirely myself around her. It started small, a fascination I could never explain. When I'd see Mia getting ready for work, brushing on her eyeliner or slipping into a silky dress, something in me stirred. It wasn't about attraction, it was envy. Not of her beauty, but of her confidence, her effortless ability to express herself. I admired it, longed for it, and in secret, I copied it. At first, I only watched. Then, one evening while Mia was at her yoga class, I found myself in front of her vanity. My hands trembled as I touched her lipstick, a soft rose shade she wore on weekends. One small streak across my lips, and my heart pounded so loudly it felt like a confession. That was months ago. Since then, I'd been living a quiet double life. A drawer hidden under my desk contained a few stolen treasures, one of Mia's blouses, a skirt I bought online, a cheap wig I convinced myself was just for fun. But it wasn't fun. It was need. And with every secret moment, the risk grew. It was a Friday evening when everything began to unravel. Mia was out shopping with her friends, and I had the apartment to myself. Rain tapped against the window like a heartbeat as I opened my hidden drawer. Inside, the forbidden collection waited like a promise. I took a deep breath and began. The blouse, soft silk, light lavender, slightly oversized, slid over my skin like liquid air. Then the skirt, short but elegant, hugging me in places that made me feel exposed and alive all at once. I slipped on a pair of Mia's heels, far too tight for comfort, and stared at my reflection. The person in the mirror wasn't Ethan. Not entirely. There was fear, of course. If Mia ever found out, I wasn't sure she'd understand. She had a strong personality, and sometimes her jokes about guys needing to man up hit me deeper than she knew. But in this moment, looking at my reflection, something stronger than fear filled me. It was peace. Then came the knock on the door. It startled me so badly that I almost tripped over the heels. My first thought was Mia. My second was I'm ruined. I scrambled, nearly tearing the blouse as I reached for the bedroom door. But the knock came again, 3 sharp taps, deliberate and slow. It didn't sound like her. My stomach twisted. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice shaky. No response. Just the wind howling through the corridor outside. I inched closer to the peephole. But before I could look, a faint, sweet scent drifted through the air, a mix of roses and burnt sugar. It shouldn't have been possible. The door was still shut. Then a whisper. A woman's voice, faint but distinct, from the other side of the door. "Do you wish to be seen as you truly are?" I froze. My pulse raced, the world narrowing to that single question. Was this some kind of prank? Some strange hallucination from guilt? I didn't know. But my hand turned the doorknob anyway. When the door swung open, no one was there. Only the rain-soaked hallway, empty and quiet, except for a small velvet box lying on the floor. Curiosity won over fear. I picked it up. Inside was a pendant, shaped like a teardrop, glowing faintly even in the dim light. It pulsed once, softly, almost like a heartbeat. And then, for a reason I still can't explain, I whispered, "Yes." The light flared. I staggered backward as warmth surged through my body. My skin tingled, my breath caught. It was as if invisible threads were weaving through me, shifting, molding, changing. My reflection shimmered in the hallway mirror, warping and bending like water. The blouse clung differently. My waist tightened, my chest rose beneath the fabric, and my voice, when I gasped, came out higher, softer, terrified. It was happening. The pendant burned against my skin, and for a moment, I thought I heard laughter, distant, haunting, like someone pleased with their work. When it finally stopped, I was trembling, breathless, staring into the mirror at a stranger. A woman stared back. My eyes, still mine, but framed by long lashes and delicate features, blinked in disbelief. I reached up, touching my cheek. The skin was smoother. The bone structure different. "Oh my God," I whispered, voice trembling, alien. What did I just do? Outside, thunder cracked, shaking the window. I felt dizzy, terrified, and somehow free. And that was when I heard the familiar click of a key turning in the front door. Mia was home. My mind screamed. There was no time to think, no time to undo anything. I ran toward the bedroom, heart pounding, every step echoing like a countdown to disaster. That night, everything I thought I knew about myself and about love was about to change forever. The spell had worked, and it wasn't done with me yet. I froze in place. My heart pounded so violently it felt like the whole room could hear it. The sound of the key turning echoed like a death sentence. Mia was humming softly on the other side of the door, her usual tune when she came home from shopping. The rhythmic sound of her heels against the hallway tile was like the ticking of a clock. Panic hit me in waves. My mind screamed, "Change back. Do something. Anything." I rushed toward the bathroom mirror, hoping that somehow, if I willed it hard enough, the reflection would change back into the man I used to be. But the woman staring back only looked more real with every breath I took. Her hair, long and silky, brushed against my neck. Her skin glowed with a softness that wasn't mine. The blouse, Mia's blouse, now fit perfectly. The pendant around my neck shimmered faintly. I grabbed it, desperate, and yanked. It didn't budge. It was as if it had fused into my skin. "Ethan?" Mia's voice called from the doorway. "You home, babe?" I froze. My throat went dry. My lips parted, but nothing came out. She stepped into the apartment. The sound of her keys clinking against the table was painfully normal, a cruel contrast to the chaos I was drowning in. "I picked up that candle you liked from the market," she continued casually, her voice moving closer. "It smells like..." Her footsteps stopped. "Hello? Are you in there?" I stumbled into the bedroom, slamming the door shut. My heart thundered in my chest. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't let her see me like this. Think, Ethan." I ran to the closet and flung it open, scanning the shelves for something, anything, that could hide me. My mind raced through 100 impossible explanations. Makeup prank? Costume test? Delusion? But before I could move, Mia's gentle knock came. "Ethan? Why is the door locked?" Her tone was light, teasing, but there was curiosity underneath it. She was too perceptive. She always knew when something was off. I swallowed hard. My voice, it wasn't my voice anymore. How could I even speak? I tried to force out words, but the sound that came out was foreign, soft, trembling, undeniably feminine. Gee, give me a second." The silence that followed was deafening. Then a small laugh. "Are you okay in there? You sound weird." I backed away from the door, clutching my chest as my heart threatened to explode. My legs shook in the heels I hadn't taken off yet. The absurdity of the situation was almost too much to process. I was standing in Mia's clothes, trapped in a woman's body, with my girlfriend just a few feet away. Spilled something?" I managed, my voice cracking into a high-pitched note that didn't belong to me. "Spilled something," she repeated, amusement creeping into her tone. "All right, drama queen. Just don't ruin my rug." Her footsteps retreated down the hall, and I finally allowed myself to breathe. But that breath came out in sobs. I stumbled to the mirror again, staring at my reflection. Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't recognize myself, and yet something deep inside whispered that this wasn't entirely wrong. That scared me more than anything else. I touched my face again, tracing the delicate lines, the soft lips, the curve of my jaw. Every detail was unfamiliar, and yet it felt right. A flicker of guilt burned in my chest. Mia loved Ethan. The real me. What would she think if she saw this version? Would she laugh? Would she hate me? A faint glow pulsed from the pendant again, drawing my attention. I lifted it, staring at the light trapped within. It pulsed faster when I focused on it, almost as if it responded to my thoughts. "What are you?" I whispered. In response, the air shimmered. For a moment, I swore I saw a figure behind me, a silhouette of a woman in a flowing cloak, her outline faint as smoke. Her voice, though barely audible, brushed against my mind like silk. "You wish to be seen. Now you are." The image vanished before I could turn around. I stumbled backward, clutching the pendant. My breath came out in shallow gasps. No, 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 this isn't what I meant. The apartment door opened again. "Ethan?" Mia called, her tone suddenly sharper. "Who are you talking to?" My blood ran cold. I turned toward the bedroom door just as the handle began to twist. I bolted for the closet, dragging open the sliding door and squeezing myself inside just as she entered. The door creaked open an inch, and through the narrow crack, I saw her. Mia, confident, radiant, and holding the new candle she'd mentioned earlier. Her brow furrowed as she glanced around the empty room. "Ethan," she called again, softer this time. I held my breath, pressing a hand over my mouth to silence any sound. Her gaze drifted toward the vanity, toward the still warm lipstick tube, the open drawer, and the faint scent of perfume hanging in the air. Her eyes narrowed. She stepped closer. And then her gaze fell on the floor, on the tiny puddle of rainwater that led from the front door to the bedroom. Her expression changed, confusion twisting into suspicion. My pulse hammered in my ears. "Is someone here?" she whispered. Every nerve in my body screamed at me to run, but I couldn't move. The pendant burned hotter, pulsing against my skin like a heartbeat. And then, just as she turned toward the closet, her phone rang. She jumped slightly, fumbled it out of her purse, and sighed in relief. "Hey, yeah, no, I just got home," she said into the receiver, distracted. Her voice softened as she left the room again, walking toward the kitchen. The moment she disappeared, I collapsed to my knees, shaking. For now, I was safe. But deep down, I knew something terrible, something irreversible, had already begun. When Mia finally left the bedroom, I stayed in the closet, shaking, for what felt like hours. Every sound in the apartment, the faucet running, a cupboard closing, her laughter on the phone, made me flinch. I didn't dare look at my reflection again. When the apartment went quiet, I peeked out. She was in the living room, scrolling through her phone, completely unaware that her boyfriend was hiding a few feet away as a woman. I crept toward the bathroom, desperate to think, to find an explanation. The mirror caught me mid-step, and for a long moment, I couldn't look away. The reflection was stunning, terrifyingly so. My features were soft yet defined, my lips were fuller, my eyes bright and expressive. The pendant at my throat still pulsed faintly, like a warning. "This isn't real," I whispered. "This can't be real." But it was. My chest rose and fell in shallow breaths, the blouse brushing against my skin in a way that made me hyper-aware of every inch of my body. I tried pulling at the wig, hoping it might come off, but it wasn't a wig anymore. The hair was mine. The texture, the weight, even the smell, it was all real. A knock on the bathroom door made me jump. "Ethan?" Mia's voice was calm, but curious. "You've been in there a while." I froze, gripping the counter so hard my knuckles turned white. "Yeah, I'm fine," I stammered, my voice cracking again into that unfamiliar, feminine pitch. She laughed softly through the door. "Are you sure? You sound different." Different. If only she knew how much. "Yeah," I forced out, trying to mimic my old tone, but it was no use. My voice was lighter, breathier, utterly changed. "Well, okay," she said after a pause. "Dinner's ready if you want it." I heard her footsteps fade. When I finally emerged from the bathroom, I saw her setting plates on the dining table. The glow from the candles made her look angelic, calm, completely at ease. The contrast was almost cruel. My instinct was to stay hidden, but another part of me, an irrational, reckless part, wanted to test something. The pendant had changed me, but what if it could change me back? I clutched it tightly. "Please," I whispered, "make me me again." The pendant warmed. A brief spark of hope flickered inside me. But the warmth grew sharper, hotter, painful. I gasped as light flashed around me, forcing me to shut my eyes. When I opened them again, the room spun, and my legs gave way. I hit the carpet, clutching my chest as the heat faded. I looked down. No change. My heart sank. Whatever magic this was, it wasn't giving up its hold on me. "Ethan?" Mia's voice again, this time closer. I scrambled to my feet, panic setting in. The bedroom door creaked open, and I didn't have time to hide. She stepped in, holding a plate of food, her face softening with concern. "There you are. I thought you." Her sentence died mid-breath. She stopped cold. Her eyes widened as she looked at me, really looked at me. For a split second, I saw the confusion in her gaze twist into something else. Fear, disbelief, anger. "What the hell?" she whispered. "Who are you?" I opened my mouth, but words wouldn't come. I can explain." She dropped the plate. It shattered on the floor, scattering pieces of ceramic across the rug. "Why are you wearing my clothes?" she demanded, her voice trembling. "And what? How?" Her gaze swept from my face to the pendant. "Where's Ethan?" she hissed. Tears stung my eyes. "Mia, it's me." Her expression shifted from fury to shock.
No.
"No, that's not possible." "I swear," I said, my voice cracking. "It's me. I don't know what happened. There was this box, a pendant. I thought it was some kind of prank, but—" She stepped back, shaking her head. "You're insane." Her disbelief hit me harder than I expected. I wanted to reach out, to hold her, to prove it somehow. But the look in her eyes, fear mixed with heartbreak, froze me in place.
"Please," I said.
"You have to believe me. It's me, Mia." She stared for a long moment, and then, in a voice that broke me completely, she whispered, "Ethan never wore heels." Silence. She turned away, walking out of the room without another word. The sound of the front door slamming echoed like thunder. I sank to the floor, trembling. The pendant still glowed faintly, mocking me with its quiet heartbeat. I didn't know what hurt more, the fact that I was trapped in this body, or that the person I loved most had looked at me like I was a stranger. I crawled toward the mirror again, clutching the pendant tightly in my fist. My reflection looked fragile, lost, haunted. I didn't recognize her, but I couldn't hate her either. Somewhere deep inside, this version of me felt real. Too real. The pendant pulsed again. And for the first time, I wasn't sure if it was trying to curse me or wake me up. The night felt endless. Rain hammered against the windows, and thunder rolled somewhere far off like an omen. Mia hadn't come home since she stormed out, and I didn't blame her. I'd seen the horror in her eyes, the way she looked at me, as if I'd stolen her boyfriend's face. I sat curled on the edge of the bed, staring down at the glowing pendant that refused to leave my neck. Its faint pulse had grown stronger now, more rhythmic, like it was syncing with my heartbeat. Every time I touched it, I felt warmth, followed by that same whisper I'd heard before. "You wish to be seen." The words sent shivers through me. I didn't wish for this. I whispered back into the empty room. I just wanted to understand myself. But the pendant didn't care about my explanations. It pulsed again, a little brighter this time, as though mocking me. I needed to fix this. To undo whatever I'd triggered. I tried searching online, typing desperate phrases like magical pendant transformation, reversing enchantments, even how to break a curse. Of course, nothing came up. Only fantasy forums and people talking about spells as if they were metaphors. But what I was living through wasn't a metaphor. It was almost midnight when I heard the sound of keys again. My body tensed. The door opened quietly this time, as if she didn't want to be heard. "Mia?" I called softly. No answer. I stood, every muscle stiff with dread. I peeked around the corner and saw her. She was standing in the hallway, drenched from the rain, holding something in her hands. It was the velvet box. "I went back," she said finally, her voice shaking, "to the spot outside our door, where you said you found this." My throat tightened. "Why would you?" She cut me off. "Because I didn't believe you. I thought maybe you were lying. But when I picked it up, it glowed." I froze. "It's real, isn't it?" she whispered, her expression unreadable. "Whatever this is, it's real." Tears filled my eyes. "I don't know how to stop it, Mia." I tried. "It won't let me change back." She stepped closer, setting the box down on the table. "There has to be a reason. Magic doesn't just happen. You must have done something. Said something." Her tone wasn't angry anymore. It was desperate. I opened the box. There was a voice. I said quietly. It asked if I wanted to be seen, and I said yes. She stared at me, searching my eyes for the person she'd loved. "You always hid parts of yourself from me," she said, her voice breaking. I thought it was just emotional distance. But this, she gestured helplessly at me, at the body I barely recognized. "This is something else." I took a trembling step toward her. "I didn't mean to hide from you. I just didn't know how to explain it. I didn't even understand it myself." She looked away, tears slipping down her cheeks. "You should have trusted me, Ethan." The sound of my name on her lips hurt more than anything else. "I'm still me," I said. "Inside, I'm still the same person." She turned back, eyes glistening. "Are you?" For a moment, we stood in silence. Two strangers who used to know each other. The rain outside softened into a faint drizzle. Then something strange happened. The pendant began to glow again, but this time, its light spread, crawling along the veins in my neck like fire under glass. I gasped, grabbing it. "Ethan?" Mia stepped forward, panic flashing in her eyes. The light flared brighter, and a cold wind swept through the apartment. Papers flew off the counter. The curtains whipped against the windows. And then the voice. But it wasn't faint anymore. It filled the room, echoing like thunder wrapped in silk. "You wish to be seen," it said again, louder now. "But you still hide. Truth must be revealed." The glow expanded, surrounding me. Mia shielded her eyes. I screamed as a force ripped through me, like invisible hands twisting my very being. My reflection in the glass window flickered between two versions, the man I used to be and the woman I'd become, blurring and merging until I couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. "Stop," I cried out, my voice cracking between tones. "Please stop." But the magic didn't listen. It was pulling something out of me, memories, emotions, pieces of myself that had been buried for years. Flashes came like lightning. A child staring at his mother's makeup table. A teenager secretly trying on lipstick in the dark. A man too afraid to admit how much that reflection meant. And finally, the moment I said yes. When the light faded, I collapsed, gasping for air. My body trembled, drenched in sweat. Mia knelt beside me, tears streaking her face. "Ethan," she whispered, gripping my shoulders. "What happened?" "I don't know," I said, my voice faint. "But I think it's showing me who I really am." She looked terrified. "What does that mean?" Before I could answer, the pendant pulsed one last time, and this time, its glow spread to her. She yelped, stumbling back, clutching her chest. "Mia!" I reached for her, but the light surrounded her too. For a brief second, our eyes met, hers wide with fear, mine filled with helplessness, and then everything went black. When I came to, the apartment was still. The pendant lay cold against my skin. The rain had stopped. But Mia was gone. Only her voice lingered in the air, faint, distant, echoing like a whisper from the other side. "Now you'll know what it feels like to be truly seen." And I realized, with a chill that sank to my bones, that the spell wasn't finished yet. It had just claimed someone else. The next morning, I expected everything to return to normal. Maybe I'd wake up, laugh at myself for the ridiculous dream, and shove that dress into the back of my closet forever. But when I sat up in bed, something was wrong, terribly wrong. My hair brushed my shoulders. Not the messy brown strands I'd had all my life, but silky, golden waves that shimmered in the faint morning light. My hands trembled as I touched them, and the soft weight of my chest beneath the oversized t-shirt made my stomach twist in disbelief. "No," I whispered, stumbling out of bed and rushing to the mirror. The reflection staring back wasn't mine, it was hers. The girl from last night. The one from the spell. My jawline had softened, my lips fuller, my skin almost glowing. I screamed. The sound was foreign, higher, lighter, terrified. I stumbled back, bumping into the dresser, knocking a bottle of perfume to the floor. The scent of roses filled the room. My heart pounded against my ribs like it was trying to escape. "Think, Ethan, think," I whispered to myself. I snatched the dusty old book from where it still lay on the desk, flipping through its pages, desperate for an answer. There, on the back cover, were faint words written in faded ink. "To undo the spell, true self must be seen." What does that even mean? I muttered, running my hands through my golden hair in panic. The words blurred as my eyes filled with tears. I tried to calm down, to breathe, but every breath reminded me of how wrong everything felt. The smoothness of my skin, the curves pressing against the t-shirt, it was all too real. Then came the knock on the door. 3 sharp taps that sent a chill crawling down my spine. "Ethan? Are you up?" Mia's voice floated through the door, warm and casual. But to me, it was a thunderclap. I froze. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. She was home early. "Yeah, babe, just, give me a second." My voice cracked. "No," shifted, and I clamped a hand over my mouth. Panic surged. I darted across the room, searching for anything to hide myself. My clothes, my real clothes, were gone. In their place were neatly folded feminine outfits, blouses, skirts, dresses. The spell had erased my life and rewritten it in silk and lace. Come on, I muttered, throwing open drawers, searching for jeans, a hoodie, something normal. Nothing. "Ethan?" Mia called again, her voice closer now. "You okay? You sound weird." My heart slammed. "I'm fine," I squeaked, wincing at the sound. "Just, getting dressed." There was silence. Then laughter. "What? Are you hiding something from me?" If only she knew. I looked at the mirror again, and the reflection seemed to mock me. The girl looked scared, beautiful, and broken. My breathing quickened as I realized I couldn't undo this. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I grabbed one of the long coats from the closet, black, heavy, covering everything, and threw it on. It hid most of the curves, though the hem brushed my knees differently now. I tried lowering my voice as best I could. Okay, just act normal," I whispered to myself. I cracked open the door. Mia stood there in her work clothes, smiling, holding 2 cups of coffee. Her dark curls framed her face, and that same warm sparkle in her eyes made my heart ache even more. "Good morning, sleepyhead," she said cheerfully, handing me a cup. "You look different today." "Do I?" I tried to sound casual, but my throat tightened with fear. She tilted her head, eyes narrowing just slightly. "Your hair looks lighter. Did you do something to it?" My pulse thudded in my ears. Must be the lighting." She laughed, sipping her coffee, brushing past me into the apartment. I tried to keep my distance, every step a silent prayer that she wouldn't notice the truth. But Mia was sharp. She noticed everything. She turned suddenly, catching me off guard. "Ethan," she said softly, her tone shifting. "Look at me." I did, and her expression changed. Confusion crept into her eyes. "What's wrong with your voice?" I swallowed hard. I caught a cold. I lied. She stepped closer, her eyes darting over my face. I could feel her breath, warm and familiar, and for a second, I wanted to tell her everything. To scream that I didn't understand what was happening, that I was trapped in some impossible nightmare. But I couldn't. The words on the back of the book echoed in my mind. To undo the spell, true self must be seen. If I told her the truth, would that break it? Or would it destroy us? Before I could decide, her phone buzzed. She sighed, answering it quickly, muttering something about work. Relief washed over me as she turned away. Gotta run back to the studio, she said after hanging up. We'll talk tonight, okay? I nodded quickly. Sure. She smiled, kissed my cheek, and left. The moment the door clicked shut, I collapsed onto the couch, shaking. What the hell is happening to me? I whispered, staring at my hands, delicate, feminine, trembling. I knew one thing for certain. This wasn't just some curse to laugh about. This spell was changing me from the outside in. And if I didn't find out what true self meant soon, I might lose who I was forever. That night, as the clock struck midnight again, I stood in front of the mirror. The same candle flickered on the desk, the old book open before me. My reflection blinked back, half in shadow, half in light. Show me how to fix this, I whispered desperately. But instead of words, a soft voice echoed inside my head. Feminine. Familiar.
Mine.
You can't fix what you were always meant to become. The lights flickered. And I knew then, the spell wasn't done with me yet. By the third night, I stopped pretending this was temporary. Every sunrise stole a little more of the man I used to be. My voice refused to drop back down. My reflection no longer wavered between two shapes. It was her every time. The girl in the mirror looked confident, graceful, but her eyes still screamed for help.
Mine.
I'd locked myself inside the apartment for 2 days. Curtains drawn, phone off, heart pounding every time I heard footsteps outside the door. Mia had texted, called, even slipped a note under the door. Ethan, please talk to me. I know something's wrong. But what could I say? Hey babe, a cursed book turned me into your dream girl? The book lay open on the table, the candle beside it burned down to wax puddles. I traced the ancient script again and again until the letters seemed to twist into symbols that pulsed like veins. To undo the spell, true self must be seen. Seen by who? I whispered. By you? By me? The silence pressed against my ears until I couldn't bear it anymore. I grabbed the mirror from the wall and set it on the desk. Its surface rippled, faintly glowing as if it were alive. The same voice, the one that had whispered to me that first night, slid through the air like silk. You've worn the mask so long, Ethan. Isn't it time to stop pretending? I'm not pretending, I shouted. I just want to go back. Back to what? Fear? Shame? The lies you told her? The lies you told yourself. My throat tightened. Every word felt like a knife twisting deeper. The voice wasn't wrong. I had hidden who I was, the fascination, the quiet longing to feel beautiful, to step into Mia's heels just once, without judgment. I'd buried it, so deep I'd convinced myself it wasn't real. But now that part of me was on the outside, breathing, speaking, demanding to live. The air crackled, and the reflection in the mirror moved, but not like me. She leaned closer, smiling softly. Let me in completely. Stop fighting. I stumbled back.
No.
I'm not letting you take me. I'm not taking anything. I am you. The lights flickered. Wind whipped through the room though the windows were shut. Pages from the book tore free and circled in a frantic storm. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. The candle's flames stretched taller, twisting into a shape, a feminine silhouette made of fire and shadow. Who are you? I whispered. The part you tried to forget. The silhouette stepped forward, her eyes glowing gold. I felt heat wash over my skin, every nerve alive. She reached out a burning hand, and against every instinct, I reached back. The moment our fingers touched, pain ripped through me like lightning. My body convulsed. The mirror exploded into shards of silver light. I screamed, but the sound that left my throat wasn't pain. It was release. The sensation of being unmade and remade all at once. When I could breathe again, I was on the floor. The candle was out. The apartment smelled of smoke and roses. Slowly, trembling, I crawled to the broken mirror. 1,000 reflections stared back, all of them female, all of them me. Then a knock shattered the silence. Ethan. Mia's voice, urgent, scared. Open the door. My blood froze. She'd come. And I was not ready for her to see this. I grabbed a blanket, wrapped it tight, covering as much as I could. My hand still shook as I unlocked the door. Mia burst in, eyes wild. What happened? I heard screaming.
She stopped dead.
Her gaze locked on my face. Her lips parted. Oh my God. I stepped back, shaking. "ISA, I can't explain." "Who are you?" she whispered, voice trembling. "It's me." My throat burned as the words came out in a voice that wasn't mine.
Softer.
Clearer. "It's Ethan." Her face went pale. "That's not funny." "I'm not joking." Tears blurred my vision. "Something happened. That book." "Ethan, stop," she shouted. "Just stop." She grabbed the book off the table. "This? You're blaming this?" She flipped through the pages, but the script had changed, replaced by swirling, living symbols. "What did you do?" "I don't know." I cried. "I just read it and everything changed." She stared at me, at my hair, my face, the curves beneath the blanket. Her expression shifted from confusion to horror to heartbreak. "You look like her," she whispered. "Like the girl from your sketches." My breath caught. She knew. She'd always known. Before I could answer, the candles flickered back to life, though I hadn't lit them. Wind howled through the apartment, scattering papers and glass. The book in her hands glowed crimson. "True self must be seen," the voice whispered again, this time loud enough for both of us to hear. Mia gasped, dropping the book as a gust of energy burst out of it, slamming the door shut behind her. The windows cracked, and the mirror shards began to float. The apartment was no longer a home, it was a vortex. The air itself shimmered, with an invisible hum that rattled the windows and made my skin prickle. The floating mirror shards spun in slow circles around Mia and me, each one catching a glimpse of our faces, distorted, multiplied, bleeding together. Mia backed against the wall, eyes wide, voice shaking. "Ethan, what is this? What's happening?" "I told you," I shouted over the noise. "It's the spell. It's alive." Her gaze darted between the swirling shards and me. "You expect me to believe that some book did this to you? That you just turned into—" She broke off, unable to finish the sentence. "Yes." My voice cracked, half from panic, half from the truth she refused to see. "I didn't choose this, not like this." "Then why her?" Mia's voice hardened suddenly. "Why that face? Those eyes? She looks like the girl you always said I was drawing too perfectly," I said softly. "Because she's me, ISA. The part one never showed you." The room fell silent for a heartbeat, the calm before collapse. Then the shards flashed blinding white, and the air imploded. I grabbed Mia, pulling her down as light exploded around us. When the storm settled, we weren't in my apartment anymore. The walls were gone, replaced by a vast, mirrored space, endless reflections stretching in every direction. Each mirror showed a different version of me. Male, female, half changed, half lost. Mia stood, spinning in disbelief. "Where are we?" "The spell," I whispered, "brought us inside." From every direction, voices whispered, hundreds of me's speaking at once. "You've hidden too long. Show her. Let her see who you really are. Make it stop." Mia screamed, clutching her head. "I can't," I cried. "It's showing you my truth. Everything I never told you." The mirrors flickered like TV screens, memories replaying. Me sneaking into her closet when she was out, trying on her lipstick in the bathroom mirror, drawing sketches of the girl I imagined I could be if no one judged me. Mia stared at them, frozen. Her lips parted, trembling. "You, how long?" "Since before we met," I whispered. It wasn't just curiosity. It felt right. But I was scared. Scared you'd leave. Her eyes softened for just a moment, then filled with tears. "You lied to me." "I didn't lie," I said, voice breaking. "I hid. Because I didn't understand it either." The mirrors trembled. The glowing reflections began stepping out, one by one, circling us. Each version of me had a different expression, guilt, joy, anger, longing. The voice from before echoed again, this time from everywhere. To undo the spell, true self must be seen. Seen by who? Mia shouted into the emptiness. The reflections all turned toward her at once. By you. She gasped. I took a step forward, tears streaming down my face. Isa, it needs you to see me.
The real me.
All of me, not the one you wanted me to be. She shook her head, backing away. No, this isn't real. You're confused, Ethan.
This isn't you.
Yes, it is. I screamed. The force of it sent cracks rippling through the mirrored floor. This is who I am when I'm not pretending. The feminine reflections glowed brighter, radiant, powerful, alive. The masculine ones began to fade like smoke. Mia dropped to her knees, clutching the fallen spellbook that had appeared beside her. If I accept this, what happens to you? I swallowed hard. I don't know. The air around us pulsed, faster now, desperate. The mirrors flickered between my faces, my lives, my truths. Mia's tears fell onto the book, and the ink began to move on its own. New words formed in shining gold. Love must see what fear cannot. She looked up at me, trembling. Ethan, or whoever you are right now, do you want to stay like this? Her question hit harder than the magic ever could.
Did I?
Part of me screamed no, that this wasn't who I was, that I needed to go back, to be normal again. But another part, the part that felt the calm in my own reflection, whispered yes. The voices echoed my thoughts, overlapping, growing louder until they were deafening. Choose. 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 I fell to my knees, clutching my chest as pain ripped through me. My body flickered between forms, masculine, feminine, both, neither. Mia crawled to me, grabbing my face in her hands. Ethan, listen to me. I don't care what you look like. I just need you back. Her voice trembled with something raw, love, terror, desperation. The mirrors cracked again, sending shards flying like silver rain. I met her gaze, whispering through the chaos. Then see me, Isa.
Please.
See me. Her lips parted. I see you. The moment she said it, everything shattered. The mirrors imploded into light, the air turned liquid, and my body dissolved into that same golden glow, half magic, half memory. Then darkness swallowed everything. When I opened my eyes, the world was quiet again. No mirrors. No glowing symbols. Just the soft hum of my apartment. For a moment, I thought maybe I'd dreamed it all. But as I sat up, the blanket slid from my shoulders, and the truth returned like a punch to the gut. My hands were still delicate. My hair still golden. My chest rose in a rhythm that didn't belong to the man I remembered being. The spell hadn't broken. It had rewritten me. Ethan? I froze. Mia's voice, fragile, uncertain. She stood in the doorway, the spellbook clutched to her chest. Her eyes were red from crying. She looked at me as if she were staring at a ghost. Isa, I whispered, but even my own name caught in my throat. The sound didn't fit. She took a small, hesitant step closer. Is it really you? I nodded, tears burning in my eyes. It's me, I promise. She stared at me for a long moment, then shook her head, laughing bitterly. You look nothing like him. Her words cut deeper than she meant.
I didn't know what to say.
Because she was right. I wasn't him anymore, not on the outside, maybe not even on the inside. What happened in there? She asked, voice trembling. We disappeared for hours. When I woke up, the book was gone and you. Her eyes flicked up and down, taking in every change. You were like this. I swallowed hard. The spell said my true self must be seen. I think it meant this. True self, she whispered. You mean you wanted this? I hesitated. I don't know if I wanted it, but it feels like it was always there, waiting. She turned away, pacing, her hands trembling. Do you hear yourself? You're talking like some kind of stranger. The man I loved is gone, and I'm still me. I cried, stepping forward. I still remember everything. You, us, every moment. But I can't change what the spell did. She spun on me, eyes blazing with a mix of anger and heartbreak. Then change it back. There has to be a way. I tried. I whispered, voice breaking. I said the words. I begged. My throat closed. It won't let me. She slammed the spellbook onto the table. The cover burst open, its pages fluttering wildly, as if alive again. The same golden script appeared, glowing softly this time, almost mournful. When truth is seen, the spell is sealed. Mia's voice cracked. Sealed? You mean permanent? I nodded weakly. Her knees buckled, and she sank to the floor, hands over her face. This isn't fair, she whispered. You were supposed to come back to me. I knelt beside her, reaching out. Isa. She flinched. Don't touch me. The rejection stung worse than any magic. I withdrew my hand, tears spilling freely now. Please don't hate me. I don't hate you, she said after a long silence, her voice raw. I just don't understand how to love you now. Those words echoed through the room, louder than the ticking clock, louder than the storm still rumbling outside. I turned to the mirror, the one we hadn't broken. The reflection was steady, unflinching. My face glowed faintly in the candlelight, beautiful and terrifying. I think the spell wanted me to stop hiding, I said softly. It forced me to live the truth I was too afraid to admit. Even if it cost everything? Mia asked, standing slowly. I looked down. Maybe the cost was the point. She stared at me for a long, quiet moment. Then she walked to the door, hand trembling on the handle. I need time. Isa, please. She turned, eyes glistening. You said your true self had to be seen. I saw her. I don't know if I'm ready to see her every day. The door clicked shut behind her. And just like that, the silence returned. Heavy, suffocating, final. I sank to the floor, staring at the candle's flame. My body felt both foreign and familiar, a strange mix of loss and rebirth. Somewhere deep inside, beneath the pain, I felt something else too, a fragile spark of peace. For the first time, I wasn't hiding. But as the flame flickered, the faint whisper of the spell returned, curling through the air like smoke. Every truth has its price. The lights dimmed again. And I realized the story wasn't over. Not yet. The storm outside finally broke into silence. The rain slowed, the thunder softened into the distance, and all that remained in the candlelit room was Ethan. No, Mia, kneeling on the floor, trembling. The magic book lay open before her, its pages glowing faintly. The ink shimmered like molten gold, the words rearranging themselves as if they were alive. One who has changed cannot go back without sacrifice. The page whispered, almost lovingly. To reverse the spell, one must give up what they've become or who they love. Mia's hands shook. Her reflection in the nearby mirror no longer startled her. It was her. Her soft eyes, her full lips, the delicate jawline. She had cried for days, screamed for hours, but now there was only quiet acceptance. Ethan was gone. But was he truly? Mia. A voice called softly. It was Sarah, the girl who had found her outside the bookstore weeks ago, the one who had believed in her when no one else did. Sarah entered the room with a candle, her face calm but her eyes full of worry. You haven't eaten. You can't keep hiding in this place. I can't go outside, Mia said quietly, hugging her knees. I don't belong anywhere anymore. Sarah kneeled beside her, brushing a strand of hair from Mia's cheek. You think being you makes you wrong? She asked softly. Maybe this, she gestured at Mia's body, wasn't a curse. Maybe it was just showing you who you've been afraid to see. Mia's heart ached. Every part of her wanted to believe that. But the fear of losing herself, of losing Ethan, was suffocating. You don't understand, she whispered. I didn't choose this. The spell, it forced me. Sarah smiled faintly. Maybe it started that way. But have you noticed how you've stopped trying to undo it? That silence spoke volumes. She hadn't touched the reversal ritual in days. She had stopped researching new spells. She had stopped whispering Ethan's name before she fell asleep. Had she accepted this? Hours later, alone again, Mia stood before the mirror one final time. Her old clothes were gone. She now wore a white dress, the same one she had first seen in her dream after the spell took hold. It felt like the end of something, and the beginning of something new. "Do I want to go back?" she asked aloud, staring at her reflection. The book on the floor pulsed again, as if waiting for her command. "Speak the name you wish to become," it whispered, "and all will be undone." Her breath hitched. If she said Ethan, the spell would break, but Sarah would forget her. The world would shift again. If she said Mia, she would remain as she was, trapped, yes, but also free to live without hiding. The storm returned, wind rattling the window. The candlelight flickered wildly. She looked at her reflection and smiled. "Mia," she whispered. The book flared in golden light, pages turning to ash, symbols vanishing into the air. The mirror rippled, showing her two versions of herself, Ethan on one side, Mia on the other. Then slowly, the male reflection faded, leaving only her. Only Mia. When morning came, Sarah found her outside, barefoot in the soft sunlight. "Is it over?" Sarah asked. Mia nodded, her smile trembling with relief.
"Yes. It's over," she said.
But her voice held peace, not sorrow. "What happened to the book?" Sarah asked, looking around. "It's gone," Mia replied. "Maybe it was never really real." Sarah laughed softly. "And who are you now?" Mia turned toward her, her hair catching the light like gold. "Someone new," she said simply. "Someone I should have met long ago." That night, as she closed her eyes, a faint whisper echoed in her mind, the same voice from the first day. "One spell changed you, but only because you were ready to be changed." She smiled, and for the first time, she didn't feel cursed. She felt alive. Months passed. The bookstore on the corner where it all began had long been closed, replaced by a quiet flower shop. People walked by without ever noticing the faint trace of golden symbols carved into the foundation, hidden beneath the layers of paint. But Mia noticed. She stood across the street that afternoon, the wind brushing through her hair, the same way it had the night she first walked into that cursed shop. Only now she wasn't afraid. Her reflection in the glass window showed a confident woman, elegant, calm, but with eyes that still held the memory of Ethan. She wasn't pretending anymore. She was Mia. Still, sometimes when she looked into certain mirrors, ones with a faint shimmer, she could almost see him. The boy she used to be, watching her, smiling faintly, proud. That night, she walked home under the soft glow of city lights. Her phone buzzed, a message from Sarah. "Sarah, dinner tonight? You owe me for all the times I brought you soup. Mia, I'd never forget." 7 p.m.? Sarah, perfect. And wear that blue dress. You know the one. Mia smiled, typing back quickly before putting her phone away. She caught her reflection in a store window and paused. For a split second, she saw both versions of herself, Ethan and Mia, standing side by side, their expressions soft and peaceful. "Thank you," she whispered. The reflection faded, leaving only her. The streetlight above flickered briefly, and a faint golden spark shimmered in the glass, like the spell had winked one last time before finally disappearing forever. Mia walked away, her heels clicking softly against the pavement. The city carried on around her, but inside her, the noise was gone. All that remained was quiet acceptance, and a story she'd never forget. Because one spell hadn't destroyed her life. It had revealed who she was always meant to be. 2 weeks later, a girl named Lena wandered into the same old alleyway, the one everyone in town said was haunted. She had just moved to the city, looking for work, carrying too many worries and too few dreams. Her phone's map showed a shortcut through the back street, the same path Mia once took. Rain started falling in a thin drizzle, and she ran for cover. That's when she saw it. A narrow door, painted black, half hidden behind a cracked sign that simply read, "Wishes restored." Curious, Lena pushed it open. The bell above the door chimed with the same faint, golden tone. The smell of old paper and perfume filled the air. The shop was dimly lit, filled with antique mirrors, jewelry boxes, and glass jars containing shimmering dust. A figure stood behind the counter, a woman, graceful and calm. Her face looked familiar, though Lena couldn't quite place it. She wore a delicate necklace that glowed faintly gold. "Welcome," the woman said softly. "I've been expecting you." Lena hesitated. "I just needed somewhere to wait out the rain." "Of course," the woman smiled faintly. "But while you're here, tell me something. Have you ever wished to be someone else?" Lena blinked, a nervous laugh escaping her lips. "Sometimes. Who hasn't?" The woman's eyes shimmered with knowing light. Mia's eyes. The glow from the necklace grew warmer, brighter. "Then perhaps," Mia whispered, "it's time for your wish to come true." The lights flickered, and the screen would fade to black, leaving only the sound of the rain outside and the faint hum of magic returning. The rain hadn't stopped since that night. It was the kind of rain that blurred reflections, that made it impossible to tell what was real and what was imagined. Lena pulled her coat tighter as she stepped out of the narrow alley. She didn't know why, but she could still smell the faint scent of perfume lingering behind her. Sweet, warm, old-fashioned, like something from another lifetime. She had left the strange antique shop behind, or at least she thought she had. The woman inside, Mia, had smiled in a way that sent chills down Lena's spine. Not out of fear, but something stranger, something magnetic. "It's time for your wish to come true," Mia had said. And then Lena had blinked, and the shop was gone. Completely. Now she stood in the middle of the rain-soaked street, trembling, her heart pounding against her chest. "Dreaming," she muttered to herself, trying to laugh. "Just dreaming." But when she got home, to her small, cluttered apartment on the second floor of a crumbling building, she found the mirror waiting for her. It wasn't there before. She was sure of it. A tall, gold-rimmed mirror leaned against her bedroom wall, wrapped in faint white fabric, almost like it had been delivered. No note, no receipt, just a thin ribbon tied around it, the same golden color as Mia's necklace. Lena hesitated before touching it. Her reflection looked tired, ghostly in the dim light, brown hair sticking to her face, makeup smudged from the rain. She sighed, pulling the ribbon loose. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, faintly, from somewhere deep within the glass, a whisper. Soft, but clear enough to make her freeze. "Don't be afraid." Lena's breath caught. She stepped back, eyes wide, staring into her own reflection. But it wasn't just her anymore. There was a faint shadow behind her, a woman's silhouette. Graceful, still. "Who's there?" Lena whispered. No answer. Just the soft flicker of candlelight, except she didn't have any candles lit. Something about the mirror felt alive, like it was breathing. That night, Lena couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard faint whispers, not threatening, but coaxing, like the voice was calling her closer. And each time she resisted, until the third night. That's when she saw it, her reflection, dressed differently. The same face, same eyes, but softer. Feminine. Her hair longer, her lips painted faintly red. Lena froze. It wasn't just her imagination anymore. She reached for the glass, and it was warm to the touch. "Do you wish to see who you truly are?" the whisper asked.
Her throat went dry.
"Who are you?" The mirror shimmered faintly, and for a split second, she saw Mia's face in the reflection.
"Come."
Ageless. Watching her. "A guide." Mia's voice echoed faintly. "But the mirror chooses what it reveals." The reflection changed again. Now Lena was dressed in a flowing silk gown, pale blue, delicate, and her features had transformed completely. A beauty that felt unreal, yet familiar. Her pulse raced. The mirror wasn't showing a dream. It was showing a possibility. And when she tried to step back, her feet wouldn't move. It felt as though invisible hands were holding her there, gently but firmly, pulling her closer. "Accept it," the whisper urged. "Let go of who you were." Lena struggled, shaking her head.
"No."
"I don't even know what this is." It's your truth. The glass rippled, and before she could scream, her hand sank into it. Cold light surrounded her arm, crawling up her skin like liquid gold. She tried to pull free, but the harder she fought, the deeper she sank. You asked for a new life, the voice reminded her, soft and merciless. Now it begins. Her vision blurred. Her body felt weightless. When she finally gasped for breath, she wasn't standing in her apartment anymore. She was in a room of mirrors, endless, golden reflections surrounding her, each one showing a slightly different version of herself. Some with different hair, makeup, clothes, but all undeniably her. And in the center of them stood Mia, radiant, calm, her golden necklace glowing brighter than ever. "Welcome," she said softly. "The mirror never lies." Lena stumbled back, her reflection shattering into dozens of pieces before reforming around her. "What did you do to me?" Mia smiled gently, but her eyes were sharp, unreadable. "I didn't do anything, my dear. The mirror simply revealed what you hid." The lights dimmed. The reflections flickered, and for the first time, Lena realized what terrified her most wasn't being trapped. It was how right it all felt.
The gown.
The face. The feeling. And then Mia's final words echoed through the endless mirrors. "Every wish has a cost. You'll learn yours soon enough." Lena sat before the mirror again, the faint glow pulsing softly through the glass like a heartbeat. This time, she didn't touch it. She whispered, "Show me the truth." The surface shimmered, shapes and colors forming slowly until she saw a reflection of herself not as she was, but as she could become. Stronger. Freer.
Whole.
A faint smile crossed her lips. "So, this is what you've been trying to tell me." Then, behind her reflection, something else appeared, a shadow, tall and graceful, stepping closer through the mist. It wasn't Mia this time. It was someone new. The glass trembled, and a faint voice echoed through the room. "You've opened the mirror, Lena. Now you must decide what comes through." Her lights flickered. The reflection blinked. And when they came back on, Lena was gone. Only the mirror remained, humming softly, its surface alive with ripples of golden light.